Hello and welcome to our second episode of the school year, Season 2. I'm Mr. Ellsberg. This is Professor Bauman.
Professor Danny Bauman. It's good to be back.
And welcome to Tech Town.
Yeah, all right. Well, thanks for coming. This is where every week we talk about some sort of tech-related, interesting thing that you guys need to know about and will help you basically do everything.
That's right. Last week we talked a little bit about video editing. We talked a little bit about a cool music site that you could use. Some security tips.
Yeah, exactly. So every week you try to bring a main topic, something that's like, video editing, something that takes a little bit of time, something you got to learn the tricks, which one to use, how to do it, and then we'll throw in a few little goofy things, some music sites, or even this guy, he throws in a weird thing every week.
That's right. We got the Mr. Ellsberg's website of the week. Today, though, we're going to be talking about notes.
Yeah.
Note-taking programs. All things notes.
Yeah, notes. So, notes have been around for a while. People used to use those old, what do you call them? Pens?
Old-timey
or something?
feathers.
Feathers.
And oil.
Ink, oil. I don't know. Whatever they did, they used to take notes. But these days, taking notes is way better. So there's a lot of reasons to, maybe you're not even a note taker, but, you got to start doing it.
Yeah, that's right. There's so many things going on. You want to know if you have an idea that pops in your head, you want to be able to write it down. You want it to be dynamic. You want to be able to play with it. You want other people to see it. All sorts of reasons to have the notes.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, let's jump right in. So we did an episode last season on Evernote and taking notes with Evernote. So Evernote is a note-taking program.
Right.
So this time I want to talk a little bit more about that and why it's good and why just note-taking in general is good. Mm-hmm. But another thing we want to do is we want to use a different one. So Evernote's pretty good, but I found some things I didn't like so much about it. So I was going to try out a different one called, this time, OneNote, and I want to see how that goes, but there are even more.
That's right. And so as part of what we're trying to do here is get you guys excited about using things. So today we're going to talk about a OneNote taking program, but if you want to, go and try your own, give us some feedback. We're going to meet tomorrow at the Web Academy, Wednesday at around 12:30. So if you want to come by and talk about the OneNote, which we're going to use today, you can get on there and play with it. Or if you want to review your own note-taking program, we're going to give you a few options below, which you can go and check out. Just click on the Show Me More part, and you can see some others, or you can go and find some on your own.
Yeah, exactly. I try to, show you guys what I know about a few note-taking programs, but there's way more out there, so there's always more for us to learn. So you guys go ahead, try what we tell you out, and then also try some other things. Try a different program that we haven't used, and let us know how it goes.
Yeah, the sweet part of technology is things are always getting better and more interesting, and other things are getting worse, and so you're always trying to figure out what it is best for you in that moment.
Exactly. All right, so a good question is why are we taking notes? Why are we taking notes, especially why are we taking notes electronically? Mm-hmm. And one of the big things about notes these days is that they can follow you around. So instead of you losing that piece of paper with all your notes, you can just have that everywhere. Maybe you have a smartphone and it has an app that you can just open the app and have all your notes right there. Or you're using someone else's computer on the web and you want to get your notes. You can do that. So really it's about diving in and just taking notes about everything. Maybe it's about your schoolwork or your to-do list or a shopping list or just fun things or ideas you've had. One of the things I like to take notes on is maybe I wake up in the middle of the night with a really crazy cool idea that I want to do. Write it down just then and there. I have my phone next to me. And so it's really something where you just have to dive in. It's something, the more you do, the more benefit you get out of it.
That's right.
Because at first I was taking like one note on, OneNote. I was taking a singular note, and it was like, all right, that's kind of cool. But then when I started taking notes on everything that I needed to keep track of, it really made the difference. That's right. So, and then digital notes. Why digital notes? So why use these electronic things? Well, like I said, it follows you everywhere, so you can get any note anytime. But also, it has all these other features that you may not have thought are useful for note-taking.
Right.
So a good example is search. So if you want to be able to search through all of your notes for some words or something you knew, that's really easy, whereas before with paper,
Yeah, flip through your notebook. Where are you supposed to go? Now,
man.
On the other hand, they had things that would help you. You put the date maybe there at the top. Mm-hmm. You use different highlighters, different colored pens.
That's right.
But we're gonna improve on that.
Exactly. That's what this whole search thing came out just to do. So searching and they're there forever. You won't lose them. They won't get shredded up. And then another thing is shareable. So with these notes, you can collaborate with other people. So maybe you're like what we do with TechTown is we collaborate with our show notes, and maybe you want to edit a little bit, I want to edit a little bit. So being able to work with other people is a lot easier with the digital notes.
That's right.
So, okay, so I mentioned that it can go on all sorts of different devices. So let's say you want to use your phone to take some notes, but then you're at somebody else's computer. So with these note-taking programs, you kind of want it to work on everything that you have.
Right.
So good news is that these things are now working on more things. So meaning Evernote works on iPhones, iPads, Android, Mac, PC, the web, all these things, and pretty much all these other ones do too, which is nice. So you're going to want to make sure that whatever you're using works for the device you have, but the good news is that they're starting to actually work for all of them.
Right, and as a company, it makes the most sense, because if you come up with an idea, I mean, then that's a thing. You need to put it down in your notes. You just put it down in whatever you have with you there at the moment. So.
Yeah, and that is, like, it's amazingly important how you just need to be able to quickly get at your notes. So having it everywhere. Okay, so we mentioned which one do you use? So I talked about Evernote, and I like Evernote for a lot of reasons, and we did a whole episode last year on Evernote, but there's been a couple things that have been a little annoying to me. Right. So check it out, and we'll talk a little about Evernote again, and maybe a little deeper on some things.
That's right.
But then we want to talk about OneNote. OneNote is Microsoft's note-taking program, and they have a lot of good things going for them too, and I'm actually trying to convert to OneNote. So right now I've been starting to take my show notes in OneNote, and so far so good. Seems like it's kind of fixing some of the things I want. It has a few little issues, so we'll go through that. But like I said, there's plenty more. There's one called Simple Note, and there's a zillion more. So in the show notes, in the YouTube video under the description, if you click Show More, it'll show all the show notes that we have. Wikipedia has an amazing comparison page that will show you basically every note-taking software there is, and every feature in like a grid and a table, and it'll say whether it does this feature or doesn't do that feature or whatever. So you can go through and see the most comprehensive.
Because you could get lost in that matrix.
Oh, you could get very lost in that matrix. So check it out. Check it out and see, if you're looking for another one to try, this comparison page will have a million of them. So just quickly about Evernote. So Evernote is a pretty popular one. So I'd start there if you're just getting into the notes, except for the reasons I'm going to tell you about where it falls short. But Evernote has an app for all these different devices. It will let you share. It has video guides for you. So maybe there's something you don't quite know how to do. It has a website that will show you even videos on how to do those things, which is nice.
We even made a TechTown on it last year.
Yeah.
So we'll put that in the notes as well, in case you want to get a little bit more information on the Evernote.
Exactly. And then one thing that Evernote was kind of, I'd say pioneering, other ones are following suit, is apps, Evernote apps. So that's not just the Evernote app that you would download to your phone to take notes on Evernote. It's apps that play nice with Evernote. So an example is there's a whole section on helpful apps for school. So let me show you a quick shot of their webpage that shows you all the different apps that you can use with Evernote. So this is just the education section of their App Center. They have Study Blue. It says efficiently turn Evernote notes into flashcards and study them.
That's nice.
So or a spreadsheet tool or memorizing things. So all these things work really nice with Evernote and your notes to be able to take your notes that you already took and it will do another function with them. So that's pretty cool. That's another concept that's getting more popular is apps within Evernote. So, all right. So then Evernote again has some amazing tricks and cool things you can do. I'll share some more in the notes we have. But I started to use OneNote. So let me show you what OneNote looks like. You can look at the notes here I'm using in OneNote. And it's made by Microsoft, and for a while, a lot of Microsoft things wouldn't work well with non-Microsoft products. So most people think, oh, this won't work with my Mac or my iPhone. But Microsoft has done a lot of work in the last couple of years to make that stuff work. So OneNote actually does work for all of these devices too. So even if you have a Mac, you can use a Microsoft OneNote program. So first reason I was using OneNote. When I'm making notes and I use all these bullet points, you can see I'm using all these bullet points here. It is better at bullet points, better at formatting. Evernote just has some weird, it seems like bugs, where you're trying to make bullet points and actually gets 2 of them where you wanted 1, or it jumps to the next line or something. So there's I don't know, weirdness with the formatting. Here,
that's a big thing, especially with notes. You want to be able to organize them in a way that makes sense to you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's like the more important thing for there not to be any distractions from you taking your notes, because taking your notes needs to be really quick. It needs to just work. So if I'm making my bullet list and I want my indented bullets and I accidentally deleted that, that needs to work really smoothly. Evernote was causing some problems there.
Yeah, so like when you turn in an essay, you kind of expect to spend a decent amount of time with formatting. When you're taking notes, they're just for you. You're not trying to get credit for your notes. You just want that information in an easily digestible.
Yeah, right, exactly. And the more weird formatting tricks you have to do, the less you'll be actually taking the notes. So, so yeah, and I'll give you a little tour of OneNote here. It's fairly similar to other Microsoft Office products, and it's also fairly similar to Evernote because they do fairly similar things. So here they have things what they call notebooks. So their notebooks are these big notebooks that you're going to store lots of stuff in.
Okay.
So I started a notebook for just TechTown. I called it TechTown.
Right.
So this is the view on just notebooks. And then you can say, I want to go into my TechTown. Yeah, here you go. I want to go into my TechTown notebook versus my personal one.
Right.
And within the TechTown one, you can have sections and you can have notes. So I started a section for my lectures of TechTown, and then added, or they call them a page, I guess, instead of a note. And so you have this nice white space where you can make some notes.
Right.
It looks kind of simple at first, but what's nice is that they hide a lot of the advanced stuff until you want it. So for example, let's say I want to change things about the fonts. If I select this right here, that font thing pops up. So I can change the font right here. I can change the font size. I can align things differently or highlight things. And this looks very similar to Microsoft Word or Microsoft Office because that's the same sort of thing. So it's nice because it's fairly hidden until you need it, but then it does work. You can indent things differently. That same sort of thing is up here. If you click on like Home, you get this nice big old ribbon, just like Office has. So you can do a little bit more advanced functions. They have some nice different colorings and headings. If you want to insert pictures and things.
That's really sweet. I really wish that Google Docs had that, since that's one we use so much at our school.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and another thing is try taking notes with Google Docs. You could do it. It's just not quite as geared towards it, but that would be interesting to see.
Right. Yeah, this has a really easy way to jump in and out of different sections, modules.
Exactly. The fact that it understands the kind of sections and notebooks and things like that. So. Okay, so another couple things about OneNote. So, and yeah, feel free to take a look around. Just click on some things, format some things, see how it feels to you. So another thing that OneNote is good at is playing nice with other Microsoft Office documents. So I know you guys use a lot of Google Docs, but if you also do use Microsoft Office, OneNote, you can take OneNote notes and embed them in a Word document.
Oh, that's sweet.
Or vice versa. You can take like an Excel spreadsheet and embed it in a OneNote document. Right. So it just really, and they're all stored in the same place in the cloud, so you can have all of your OneNotes stored right next to all of your Word documents. So Microsoft kind of wants this all to be a nice playing well together ecosystem.
Yeah, I would assume that that'll be really nice for, say, a slideshow that you make. Just being able to throw your notes in to each different slide.
Exactly. Yeah. So you can have your notes. Another good thing about OneNote is that they do a good job of mixing different kinds of content. So we talked mostly about text notes. You want to type down some notes. That's cool too. But sometimes you want to take a photo. Maybe you're out and about and you want to remember this specific dish of food for your recipes later. You take a picture of that, or maybe a picture of the menu. Another one is web clippings. Evernote has this too. We discussed that before too. But let's say you're browsing around the internet and you want to kind of take a picture, or not even a picture, you want like a live snapshot of that website, you can do that. You can stick that in the OneNote note, and then when you go back to that note, if the website's changed, it will change in there too. It takes like a little bit of a window into the website, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's great.
And audio recording. So even if you just don't want to type yet, or if you want to just speak your note, or if maybe you have a cool song idea you don't want to forget, you want to sing a little melody, you can have your melody go in the notebook too.
Quickly record audio. Wow. That's big time.
I mean, we spend a lot of time practicing our audio before we record any of it. So Ours is very rehearsed. Just wait till the music segment. All right, so sharing and collaboration is another big thing. So we want to work on notes together. I want to test out OneNote. I want you guys to test out OneNote to see how well it does with this. So far, I've shared a notebook, which seems like it works. You can see the notebook. You can, I think, even edit it. But I want to know how well that works. Can you edit at the same time? Is it easy to keep track of things? Is it easy to send it to share it with somebody who doesn't have OneNote yet or any account? So I want to see how that goes. I think it goes pretty well. And then apps. I mentioned the Evernote apps. Like it will connect with Evernote to let you do those flashcards or help you highlight things. OneNote has the same concept. So OneNote has some apps. And so I'll show you a little list of what they've got right now, and they're always adding more. So for OneNote, a couple apps you've got are Brother Web Connection. Oh, it can scan images and upload them to this directly without going through a PC. So I see. If you have a Brother scanner machine, I guess.
Yeah.
I can go
so
right
we've
to
got a
OneNote.
few of those out of school. So
Okay.
you have your scanner printer.
Perfect. Yeah, I can go right to OneNote. Email to OneNote. You can send an email to a specific email address, and it will automatically show up in your OneNote. And then if we talked about if this then that last year, that is also connected to OneNote. So you can say if anything happens that I choose to care about, then post something in OneNote.
That's great.
So that can be, if a new Facebook photo comes out of myself, it can also post it in my OneNote.
That's nice.
And yeah, you can take a look around. There's quite a few. The one I want to really highlight is Office Lens. So this is kind of cool. It's a camera. So if you have a phone or a tablet with a camera, and you want to take a picture of a document or a whiteboard, what this does is we'll obviously take the picture. I mean, that's a given. But it will crop it and you do the sort of contrast and brightness in such a way that it really gets you what you're trying to take the picture of.
Right.
So if you were to take a picture of a whiteboard, the white might be a little weird, the reflection, and it would have not just the whiteboard, it would have probably the rest of your classroom too. This will just crop it right down to the whiteboard.
Wow.
Or crop it right down to the document. Maybe you have a document and you just want to take the picture of the document but not have to deal with all the borders and everything. So Office Lens is cool if you take pictures of any sort of document that you want to save for later that will not have all the extra fluff around it.
That's great.
Yeah. So yeah, check out these apps. I think they're, like I say, they're coming out with more all the time, and hopefully it's competing with Evernote. It's got a bunch of cool different ones. All right.
So, in conclusion with our notes, right, we're going to talk a little bit about Cornell Notes.
We can just mention, take a look in the show notes here. I know you guys might use the Cornell Notes template of how you take notes, and there is a template for Evernote, and there's pretty much a template for OneNote so that you can easily be able to take the exact right format of Cornell Notes.
Right. So when it comes to notes, we want to see what kind of ideas you guys have. Obviously, check out Evernote, check out OneNote. If one of those looks more enticing than others, spend some time in one of those. Yeah,
and we want to hear about it. So you can either leave feedback in the YouTube comments, or if you come to the school, definitely want to hear what your experience is. Because like I say, I thought Evernote was the end-all, be-all greatest, and it turns out, there's other stuff out there that may be better. So
yeah, that's the great thing about technology.
Exactly.
So, notes. Moving on to our music
segment of the week. Bow, bow, bow. Excellent. So this week's music segment is about a website called the Hype Machine. So let me show you the Hype Machine, and it is a great music site. It's kind of like a music blog, but it's like a meta music blog.
All right.
So what that means is it's hypem.com, and hypem.com is a blog / music player site, but the way that it finds the music that it finds is from music blogs.
Okay.
So what they have is they know a lot of different music blogs, and there's different genres. People are writing things all the time, and when someone, random Joe Schmo says, "I really like this song," and puts it on that blog,
that's a tick.
Boom. Hype Machine will go in there, find it, grab it, and add it to not just put it on their site, but add it to a playlist that is in different categories of that kind of music. So it's great. So for example, you have your latest, your popular, but what these aren't just Hype Machine. This is Hype Machine going to other sites and grabbing them.
Right. Okay. So so it's like an aggregator of all of the what's happening now online with the nerds.
Exactly.
All right. Cool.
And
So you got to get them.
They do a good job of kind of separating things out and getting the most popular because there's plenty of bad music out there.
Yeah.
And they do a good job of somehow figuring out what's hip and what's cool and put it on here. So it's always updating, and you can always listen to all sorts of good songs.
That's very cool. Yeah. So you can be on the cutting edge, which being in Portland is a very important thing.
Exactly, yeah. We always try to be on the cutting edge, so here's the way to cutting edge music. It's Hype Machine, and go listen to some of those tracks.
Sweet!
All right. So, and next. Okay. So, now it's time for Mr. Ellsberg's Side Book of the Week.
And that is Tane.us, and this is actually a Professor Bauman submission to the website of the week. Go to Tane.us and see if you can Tane it. Oh, we have Tane.
So that's amazing. I mean, I figured that part out, right? That must be all there is.
Oh, but there's more Tane. All right.
Yeah, so is that all there is?
I got some more Tane.
Nice.
Yeah, let's see how long you can get Tane.
Yeah, there's a lot of Tane.
There's a lot. Oh, there's a little.
Oh! Tane.
Oh,
wait, no Tane?
No. Tane. All right, yeah, get on there, mess around with the Tane.
Excellent. Well, thank you. I'm glad one of my sites was weird enough to make it on your list.
It was obtained by Mr. Ellsberg.
Excellent. All right, excellent. So, and finally, for our security tip of the week.
Security.
Woo! All right, so this week I want to talk about firewalls.
Okay.
So you may have heard of firewalls, and they sound pretty cool. Even just the word sounds.
Yeah, I think I had some firewalls in Diablo before. I did some firewalls. Yeah, Vanquish Demons.
Yeah. Well, it turns out there is a computer thing based on that. Diablo. They stole the word from that. And what a firewall is that before there were firewalls, when you had a computer that was connected to the internet, it was letting anything that wanted to go in and out. So maybe you were browsing to a website. That's something going in, right? The website is over there on somebody's server, Google's server. And when you go to google.com, that's going to your computer, and it's displaying it. On the other hand, let's say you want something going out. Let's say you're playing a video game online, and the video game needs to know where you just moved, or that you just killed a guy, or shot, whatever. Then you need to send that information out to their servers. So there's all this information going in and out, in and out. You're getting video, you're sending text, or you're getting a phone call, or sending a phone call.
Computer.
Exactly. So when the internet came about and all this stuff was going on, bad people decided to get in on that and cause problems. So they were even part of your computer that you weren't even using was just sitting there waiting for these malicious people to come in and send viruses and send bad things. So up until Windows XP Service Pack 2, if you guys remember that, up until then there was no control. It was just like, all right, I'll take stuff, give stuff, no problem. And that was causing lots of viruses. People couldn't really stop it. So Windows added something where this concept's been around for a while, which is a firewall that says, I understand that websites should only be allowed through this little passageway. And all these other passageways that we kind of leave open, we're going to close them. And we're going to keep them closed until something proves to me that it needs it. So maybe you start a video call, or maybe you're playing a video game. It needs to prove, oh, I'm really a video game, and I get this little pathway, and then it'll open that pathway. So the change was, let's have all these pathways open for things to go in and out. Now, no. We're going to only have the certain pathways we totally understand, and for anything else, we're going to either need to ask somebody or ask the user to allow it through. So firewalls now, it's not necessarily a physical box. It could be. You could buy an extra one, or your router could be a firewall. But even your own computer, your Mac computer, your Windows computer, it has its own firewall. And you can get in there and change some of the settings. And I'll show you in the show notes some links to change some of those settings if you want. But the idea is you don't want to let everything come and go. You got to say, nope, this is what comes and goes.
Yeah, and if you want to block someone from getting in there, you got to start a fire.
Yeah, basically, just light your computer on fire. No one gets in there. So firewalls, check them out.
That's right. You probably heard the term before, but now you know a little bit more.
All right.
So, that about does it for our Tech Town this week. Remember, we want you to go out and play around with the notes programs that we mentioned here before, or go onto the Wikipedia site and see if you can figure out some new note-taking program that you think might be better. And yeah, so we'll discuss tomorrow. And if you're interested, leave some comments below. Thanks for coming, Tech Town.
Yeah, Tech Town.
All right, guys.
Next week.
Take care.